Check. Yo. What's happening, y'all? How's everyone doing tonight? On a little bit earlier than usual. Let me close this down. On a little bit earlier than usual. It's my man Kenny's birthday. So we're going to do this thing 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. today. Decent. Word up. If it's your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. This thing is called DJs Not DJing. We do it every single Wednesday night. If you're looking for a DJ that is DJing, well, then I got another channel for you to go to. Let's take a look. If you came here looking for drum and bass DJing, then this is not the show today. But you're welcome to stick around. I would say you probably would want to jump onto the Atlanta DJ Collective and check them out. Or Proper Chicago DMB too, I would recommend. I'm going to throw that link in the chat right now. Shouts out to Proper Chicago DMB. Check them out if you want to hear some drum and bass DJing right now. DJs Not DJing is every single Wednesday, and it's a pretty cool show. I invite you to stick around. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of DJs not DJing, talking shop. It's a good week to talk. New controller came out today or yesterday. NAMM coming up this weekend. Lots of rumors flying around. It's good stuff. What up, React DMB? Subketamine Cat? Xenophone, welcome. Daedalus, I've been saying your name wrong for a month. Yes, happy birthday, Kenny. What's up? Joshua Carl, what up? Appreciate y'all. Rude Boy Soldier subbing in 9 months at tier 1. Thank you. Rude Boy Soldier is the homie. He's playing in the background right now. He's DJing in the background. Live, actually, too. Big up Pure Acid Mixtapes. Wow, Pure Acid Mixtapes, man. I could tell you some stories. Thank you so much for all of your hard work that you've been putting in. Pure Acid Mixtapes, you are awesome. Looks like Stitchy's coming in. Dope. If it's your first time, basically the way that it works is for the next 2 hours, we're just going to talk shop. Talk about what's going on in DJ news, tech news, streaming news. What's up, Stitchy? How you doing, sir? Happy Wednesday. How was your week? Awesome. I'm actually feeling a little under the weather for the past couple of days. I'm pushing through it right now with my bottle of smart water. Trying to look smart. Hang on. They're not paying me to say that, by the way, but they absolutely can. Who do we got coming in here? Let's see. Oh, good. Man in the Bag is here. Perfect. Boston representing. Speaking of Boston, Joshua Carl, get your butt in here. Entity, what's happening? How you doing, sir? Yeah, I can't do vodka today. We cannot hear the Zoom. Oh, thank you. Let me fix that. Appreciate that, sound crew. Who said that? Jake Samuel. Thank you very much. We should be good to go now. Rude Boy Soldier rating in. Just talked about him. I guess that means he's done DJing. I'm going to turn off his source real quick. He was big up Rude Boy Soldier. That's the homie, man. I tell this story all the time, but I'll tell it again. I don't care. Rude Boy Soldier was my first audience for drum and bass DJing, and a lot of ways DJing in general for public audience. Going back to 1990, and I was on a radio show called The Unknown Future on KCBO, which is a community access radio station. So I donated hours and paid money to be on the show, to have a show. And I DJ'd for nobody. Loved it. Loved every second of it. And Rude Boy Soldier was the only person listening most of the time. No Use for Anger's in here. All right, everybody, behave. Catch is in here. How you doing, Catch? Good to see you, brother. Entity is in here. What's up, Entity? The mayor is in here, right? He's going to give out the key to the city. Act your age. Carla Scalata, how you doing? Dude, Carla is like such a huge supporter of the drum and bass community on Twitch. It's unbelievable. She's ride or die for like so many channels, and I love it. Thank you, Carla, for all the hard work you put in and for all the support you provide to the drum and bass community on Twitch. Big up. I need a nap, says Jen Symmetry. I'm with you. I'm totally with you. And I've been resting for a while. Like I said, I'm a little under the weather, but we'll push through it. Plenty to talk about, so, you know, it's fine. Joshua Carl coming in. Speaking of Boston, where's Joshua Carl? There we go. 2 Red Sox fans and an A's fan. This isn't going to end well.
Well, while that is accurate, I'll help you out just a little. Hold on. There you go.
There.
Trainer.
I'm a National League I'm a Red Sox fan first, but I love National League baseball.
Awesome. How you doing, Josh? How was your week, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just, you know, it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Is it Groundhog Day?
I mean, it feels like it.
Theoretically, or whatever you call that. Yes, absolutely.
You just get up and repeat. Get up and repeat.
Yeah, and still in this weird, approaching a year for some of us. In a couple of months, it's going to be a year. And it's super weird. It's super weird. For those of you in California, a lot of you are in the situation where you're needing to reapply or not reapply for your pandemic unemployment assistance. And
no.
Right now, since I have been giving the status update on that since day one, I will continue to do that. I have chosen not to, and I'm going to hopefully get back into live events here in the next year. We'll see. And I really want to push the 916 Junglist channel as well. And so with your help, we can make that happen. That would be an awesome thing for this to continue to be a community and an outlet and a place for, you know, education, entertainment, information, just sloppy good times. I like to keep doing that if y'all don't mind. Big up the Rude Boy Soldier. Yeah, right? I feel that. Darth Liquid subscribing 5 months to tier 1. Thank you. Hopkins rating in with the party of 5. Thank you. That's what's up, man. How you doing, Hopkins? Hopkins, get in this Zoom. Exclamation point Zoom if you want to jump in the Zoom call. I'm going to lean on y'all today, just so you know. I'm not feeling very gabby, so to speak. But I appreciate everybody, seriously, a lot. And I like to talk to Chris Hopkins. Hopkins is dope, man. Hopkins and I, and the homie, you may have heard of him, DJ Epic. We were the final force before for Motown on Mondays in Sacramento, before, you know, March of last year when everything stopped. And since then, I know Epic. I mean, shoot, Epic went partner on Twitch in like 2 weeks. It was fucking insane. And his channel is insane in having this incredible success, particularly in Brazil, which is dope. Big up Brazil. Salve, salve. Anybody here from Brazil? Appreciate you. Yeah, Hopkins been pushing his. There you go. Thank you, Hopkins. Been pushing his stream lately. I saw him on stream earlier playing some dope stuff. He had an awesome tribute to MF Doom as well, and all around good dude.
I gotta mute your.
Yeah, Hopkins been pushing his. There you go. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, to Brazil, right? Darth Liquid, that's what's up. Daedalus, what up? Yeah, he's a super dope guy. Epic is awesome. He might be streaming right now. I wouldn't doubt it. The guy streams a lot.
He streams Wednesday nights at 9.
Wednesdays at 9, so he's starting in a few hours. Got it.
Yeah. I just got done streaming and then raided into you.
I know it. How was your stream, man?
It was good. It was fun, man. I never heard any of that music. I was like looking for music on SoundCloud, and I found this label, Suprematic Sounds, and then they had like a record pool. It was like $5 a month, and I listened to like 10 songs in a row I liked, so I just downloaded all of it, and I just played like a 3-hour set. You were in there for a little while. That stuff was all from that record pool. It's tight.
It was good stuff, man. I really enjoyed it. I lurk. I don't always talk because, especially lately, and I know this sounds kind of weird, and this is actually kind of vain, and I don't really mean for it to come off this way. But when I talk in the chat, and then everyone like says hi, and then now I'm like in the chat, and it's great when I'm like wanting to engage in the chat, but there's sometimes when I just want to listen, and enjoy, and I'll send the whisper thank you or something like that instead.
Dude, I lurk a lot.
Because like sometimes I just, you guys are so on it that like the shout outs start happening on the microphone and the text shout out bots start throwing it up, and I appreciate all that. That's dope. But sometimes you just don't want to draw
for sure
that attention or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't know.
Totally,
Vain problems. Like shut the fuck up, dude.
Dude, I think that's a really good topic to touch on is where else to get music now that everybody's DJing like multiple gigs a week in their realm or genre of choice. I feel like it's making like being a breaks DJ. I listen to the other breaks DJs, and as far as new music goes, we all kind of touch on the same tracks because there's only like 2 or 3 places to get, I don't want to say legitimate because that's not the term I'm looking for, music for sale. You know what I mean? I've tried Bandcamp and I just get lost in horrible music. And SoundCloud, I feel like it's the same thing. You for every 75 songs you listen to, you might find one that's okay.
For a DJ, whether or not you like the site, the best discoverability algorithm out there is Beatport. Hands down. And Beatport Link also is an outstanding service as well for those of you that are interested in that. The one thing that I held off when it comes to subscription-based streaming rep pools, right? Like a Beatport Link or a BeatSource Link and things like that, was from an on-location standpoint, you can never guarantee the quality of the internet connection of wherever you're going to be. Even if you mobile, you tethered to your phone, you don't know how good your cell phone service is going to be in any location at any gig, right? And you need that peace of mind. But I mean, being Ethernet jacked into the wall here at home for the last year, that's pretty much a non-issue, right? And so I've taken the time to look into some of these stuff like Beatport Link and BeatSource Link. I fucking like it, man. I think it's cool. And the way that it works, let me make sure that this is actually Mike. Hold on, let's go too hot for Twitch real quick. Make sure this is actually Mike. The one thing that it is Mike. Okay, good. He's looking at me. He's laughing. The one thing that though that it becomes when you're talking about that though is what Joshua Carl was touching on, is that you get a lot of people playing a lot of the same stuff if they're fed the same media, right?
It's like everybody getting their hamburger, every single hamburger joint getting their hamburger meat from the same farm.
Right.
Yeah.
So like there's not one, I mean, obviously there is
I feel like that point is relevant when you're focusing on new releases.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the world of music in all time is irrelevant, then paint with any color you want, so to speak, right? That's the favorite term that DJs like to use. But when what you're talking about is like genre specific new releases. Like for me, I'm looking through this week's new releases on drum and bass on Beatport. I know that everybody else in this channel sees the same feed. And based on like Beatport's my Beatport or whatever, if you're doing that where you're curating the releases based on your previous purchases or previous follows or whatever, are you guys doing that on Beatport, by the way? Are you guys? Yeah. So like,
I mean, I guess I'm the outsider in that. I'm not doing it that way.
Okay. What's your workflow for digging for new music if you want to disclose it?
Yeah, no. So what I do is I jump into Beatport, and I've been a Link member now for 5 months. Every single set that I've done is off link. My digging style is that I'll jump to the genre and then the subgenre, and then I work backwards. I hate that they don't have it set up phonically, like the key structure, but I've got a little notepad that has the key structure breakdown from Serato to musically.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
And I just start digging backwards based on the key structure. So like I'll go like from the top of the key, I'll take the entire section by key, and I'll just start going through that. And then like if it's a label and there's like multiple genres in there, I'll pick it up by BPM and then like dig through it that way.
We can know you. Awesome. The digging through BPM or by genre and subgenre, and then just going through it and looking for the needle in the haystack is like digging. Like you got to go through a lot of no's to find that yes. You know what I mean? At least I do. I'm kind of picky about my shit, right? I think we all kind of like be. Yeah. A lot of dump its before we get to the bump its, right? No use for anger, of course. It took him longer than I was expecting. No use for anger chiming in for the all vinyl DJs right now says I've never used Beatport. What is it?
I've never used Beatport either.
The all the vinyl cats, I feel you. And I still collect vinyl too. I love vinyl for the novelty. Those that know, I was a record store dude here. But that's still funny. Bandcamp first is from the Onyx. What about you, Chris? You say you never use Beatport. What are you using for your
SoundCloud and like just fucking dig like super deep, and like go off all these little branches.
So SoundCloud, are you buying music? Like, are you going places where you pay per download or anything like that?
No, there's like ways to download it off SoundCloud because I'm broke as fuck.
Well, I don't advocate that, honestly, but I hear you. I'm not gonna tisk you for doing that, but that's not my personal workflow.
I mean, I just bought a bunch of all that music today, actually.
What's that?
I just bought all that music today.
What did you buy?
That Suprematic Sounds record pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 300 songs. They're all fucking they were awesome.
Dope. Good shit, man. Meta pattern. What, if you don't mind, since we're going through the roster now, when you're digging through new music, what is where are you kind of going, or what is one of your little workflow things?
These days, I do get stuff on promo a little bit, and if it's not there, then I'm on SoundCloud or Beatport because I heard it somewhere else, like YouTube or one of y'all streams.
Sure.
I'll go directly to Beatport and buy stuff that way, and then a lot of times I'll just go on those like YouTube playlists and keep listening until I've got like 5 or 6 that I like, and then I'll just go buy them all at once on Beatport. But Beatport ultimately is the final place where I do make all my purchases.
Sounds like a big ad for Beatport right now. I feel you though.
I will say, in my defense, when I made money, I spent like $500 a month on records.
Oh yeah, totally. I know you have a nice vinyl collection. Like I said, I'm not judging you, man. I feel you.
Yeah, for sure.
Stitchy, where are you grabbing your music from right now? I think he's muted. You're muted, brother. Your mic is not working. Oh no, your mic stopped working.
You might have to restart Zoom.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Word up. He'll come back.
He'll be back.
Yep. No mic on Stitch. We got it. Definitely the lowest possible quality YouTube rips, says Ratfink.
If it's 1080p, I purposely drop it down to 360 and then
right? Yeah, transcode it down. Give it that extra mud. That's that real sauce. What up? So who has seen that new RANE controller? Let's just get down to the meat and potatoes since we're on a time limit today.
Saw the picture you posted. That was all. I haven't looked into it that much.
Josh?
Now that it's out, I can talk about it a little bit more.
Yes, please.
When the transaction happened from RANE Seattle to RANE in Music, Rhode Island, it was one of the first things they brought to the table because the NS7 and NS6 were some of their best units, as well as they're also Denon, Newmark and RANE, and they're all Denon now. And the Denon 3700, 3900s are also great moving platters. So they've
Let's
been
back up for a second. Let's back up real quick for a second.
Sure.
What he's talking about is RANE. For those that don't know, this is common knowledge, but for those who are just kind of getting into this, let me be that person. There's a big company called InMusic, and a few years back, InMusic just gobbled up a whole bunch of companies, and they own M Audio, I believe. They own Newmark. They own Akai, and they own Denon, and they own RANE. And Alto, I believe, too.
Yep, and a couple other small little weird.
Yeah, Moran's Pro and stuff like that,
yeah,
right?
And a lighting company, Q Lighting, I think, or something like that.
Q Lighting. So they're a big company that owns a lot of these different brands, right? And so at some point, before this, RANE was their own thing. RANE was RANE, and then somewhere along the way, how many years ago would you say this was?
Like 3
years ago.
3 or 4 years ago, yeah.
RANE was swallowed up in all the American glory by a big company called InMusic. And so what he's saying is that when RANE joined InMusic, this was one of the first things that they were brainstorming. So go ahead.
Yeah, so the two things that were on the table at the time was actually 3 things. The 72 was already in development. We already pretty much had that done, and that's when the sale happened. And to give you some insight of what that was like, we had a private chat group of the developers, and there was about a dozen of us, and one day we went to log on to the site and it wasn't there anymore. Now, this is like their company's private, secure site, so no one would steal their shit, and all of a sudden it was gone. Nobody told us anything, and then like 2 days later the announcement came. We're like, oh, all right. So InMusic gets it, and we actually had to corner the InMusic people at the Atlantic City DJ show, because they go there every year.
Mm-hmm.
And me and like DJ Icon and DJ Neros and DJ Eloy were all official RANE DJs, and we're like, hey, so what's going on? They're like, oh, who are you guys? And
lovely.
we pull up the old RANE site and we show them. We're like, yeah, we're some of the featured artists on the page. They're like, yeah, we're not really doing that anymore. Like, that's not what InMusic does. So not to derail the whole conversation, but right from the get-go, we're like, oh, great.
Sour taste. Yeah, totally.
And then immediately they're like, so we're going to make this controller. And we're like, what the fuck? It's just like the worst day ever. But truth be told, they bounced ideas around. And if you've never used like the Denon 3700s or 3900s, it is pretty much the closest thing to a 1200 you're going to find on a digital service. It's good.
I loved the NS7. Like I mean, there was aesthetic things I didn't like the mirror layout and the other things, but the tech of the platters.
Yeah.
And I know that that's even improved since then, but I'm just saying that the basis of the technology starts pretty much there, or even the earlier Newmark standalone turntable thing that they had just before that, right? The 12-inch.
And yeah, and the conversation was basically what you just said. Should we do mirrored or should we do not do mirrored? Should we put all of the buttons and stuff on the mixer portion, or should we be putting them out by the platters? 7-inch platters, 10-inch platters. Well, should we make it plastic? People are going to complain it's too heavy. Well, but if we make it out of metal, then people are, it's just all those like, you can't please everybody kind of conversations. Mm-hmm. So they ended up on that. And if I was in the market for a controller, I would definitely buy it. But
let's take a look at this controller, guys. Let's take a look here. All right, boom, boom. Let me find it on my screen. Oh, it's not
actually,
up.
Billy, if you want to play it, my partner DJ Icon did an amazing video.
How long is it?
Let me just double check real quick.
Okay.
If it's too long, I won't send it.
No worries. Let's move us over here. Let's move us like right here. Okay. So fancy layout. All right. Let's take a look here. So this is the article from DJ Tech Tools. Thank you, DJ Tech Tools, for sponsoring this channel. One of our main sponsors for this channel. I appreciate all the love they provide. In fact, coming up very soon, I'm going to have all kinds of swag from DJ Tech Tools, including some chroma cables, some caps, and all kinds of fun stuff. Maybe even a MIDI fighter or two to give away on this channel. That's all coming up. We've had some meetings. It's just got to solidify some stuff. It's all in the works, y'all. But they have been supporting this channel in the long run, so I appreciate everyone over at DJ Tech Tools. Go ahead.
I'm dropping this in. You don't have to watch the whole thing because it is long. But I'll drop it in the chat in here so you can see. Just getting an idea. The reason why I send this is that he just bought those new Sony, whatever that new fucking camera was. They're going for ridiculous money, and he shot the whole thing with those. It's actually gorgeous.
I'd love to see it. It's in the chat, in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, I just put in the Zoom chat.
Okay, I'll throw it up in a second. Let's get through this article real quick here. It says, okay, here's a good picture right here. So what we're looking at is two motorized platters that are like full on like aluminum platters, like a turntable 1200 platter, but they're little over 7 inches. The immediate question is can you replace these slippy top things with a 45? The answer is yes, you can. The 45 records, they're 7 inches exactly, so they fit a little bit smaller than the circumference of the platter, but it does work. Here's another picture here. These are all the sneaky pictures that came out ahead of time. So the big up DJ Tech Tools for dropping this information early. First of all, in perspective, these boxes in the background, that's a DDJ 400, and that's a mixed track Platinum FX. So this thing, it doesn't look very big.
It's funny.
So let me look at your video that you got in the link. Also, I have our buddy Mojax. He made something as well. It's a really good video.
Billy, they put up a video last night, and they
DJ family, how we live in this.
It's probably like 2 inches smaller than the 1000.
That's not too bad. Let's throw it up on the screen here. Give me a second. 1 second, y'all. Let me get this fancy layout in effect here. Okay. I have something just for this. Perfect. Y'all are going to have to watch, obviously, on the stream. If you're in the Zoom, the audio's not going to come through. That's the breaks. I'll fix that one of these days. Some problems with having a 2 PC setup. I have to send the audio back over to y'all. All right, here we go.
How we live in this is Icon with Icon Entertainment, and as you can tell by the title of this video, it is all about the brand new RANE 1.
The first to bring you the hottest DJ gear on the planet. New product introduction.
AGI Pro. Wait, okay.
Boys, it has arrived and it is sick. Before we move on, I want you to know that today's video is brought to you by none other than my friends over at AGIProDJ.com. They have been taking care of me for literally years. Shipping is always super fast, and they have some of the best customer service in the game. So for all of your DJ and production needs, make sure you check my guys out online at AGIProDJ.com. Now, you know how we do things around here. I can't just simply place the RANE 1 on the table. It's time for some dope B-roll.
That shot is gorgeous.
Oh, just wait. There's a part where he's like jump to the B-roll.
Let's go.
Let's take a look.
Coming at you with all the sauce, the RANE 1 is a project I have personally been waiting to get my hands on for quite some time now. The One is everything that I need to satisfy my performance turntableless roots in a much more compact package. With the current state of things, most, if not all of us, are playing in venues, bars, and restaurants that we never anticipated on playing in. Most of these places were never designed to have a DJ, which poses a lot of logistical challenges. Now, with the RANE 1, you essentially have two 12s and a 70 mixer that can go anywhere. That is the power of this unit. First, we will take a look at everything that's included in the box. Of course, inside you're going to find the RANE 1 controller. You will also find both 7-inch platters, 2 slip mats, 2 control discs, an IEC power cable, 2 USB cables, a tube of deoxit fader lube. This is sick. and a pack that includes the operation manual, RANE, and Serato stickers, as well as the warranty information. Now let's look at the main features of the RANE 1. Yes, it does have 7-inch motorized platters. The platters are die-cast aluminum and they have a high and low torque setting just like the RANE 12. The control disc also has the same tactile groove like you're used to seeing on the 12. A feature I'm personally super pumped about, they added a shift function to stop the motor while the song continues to play. All right. The pitch control can do plus or minus 8, 16 or 50, and they added pitch bend buttons. The one is fitted with a buttery Mag 4 crossfader that is light to the touch and sports a super magnet for tension adjustment. On the front of the unit, you'll find contour and reverse controls for all 3 faders. The effects section has 6 Serato software effect buttons with parameter controls. The effects can be used individually or you can stack them for more control, and yes, they are post-fader. Both decks have full kill, high, mid, and low EQ knobs, a dedicated low pass, high pass filter, and gain control. The one has 2 sound cards to easily switch between DJs, as well as line inputs for external devices. Each deck has a line and phono switch with a ground terminal to support turntables or media players. You will also find main and booth controls that are balanced XLR out. There is also a unbalanced master RCA out. The navigation section will let you easily scroll your Serato library, load tracks to either deck, as well as trigger instant doubles. You can also utilize a touch strip to quickly scrub through a track with LED feedback to monitor your progress. Each deck also has a dedicated loop section, streamlining the process of controlling loop parameters. There's 8 RGB performance pads for each deck that are programmed for hot cue, pitch play, saved loops, roll, beat jump, sampler, slicer, and of course, Serato Scratch Bank. Let's go! With Scratch Bank, recalling your tracks to a specific cue point with the pads is lightning fast. On the back of the RANE 1, you'll find 2 combo XLR TRS mic inputs with independent EQ and gain control that is located on the front of the unit. There is also an auxiliary input that is controlled on the front of the unit as well. This section is switchable between mic 2 and the auxiliary input. On the front of the unit, in addition to the mic, auxiliary control, and fader controls, you will also find the headphone section with 1/4-inch and 1/8-inch outputs. You can control volume, the cue mix, as well as the split cue. To get the one ready for a workout, first you need to install the platters. On the back of the platter, you'll find 2 dimples that align with the 2 indentions on the motor. Slide the platter into place, done. Next, place the slip mat on the platter and attach the quick release control disc. Plug in the power cable, connect the USB, and power on the unit. The only thing left is to download the newest version of Serato to ensure you have the driver for the RANE 1 and you're ready to go. Okay, final thoughts. Who is the RANE 1 actually for?
Here we go.
My answer, everyone. Bars, clubs, weddings, private events.
Do you know if
this
they're going to do any
unit
type of
represents
DVS
everything that I love about
integration
the
or
brand.
stuff? Or are they just
Essentially,
like,
2
they're small.
12s and a 70 mixer built into
So
this
like it doesn't look
small of a
toyish.
form factor, and
You
yes,
can put
it's
it for
built like a
1200
tank. If you are interested
could
in
do, like,
picking one of these
CDJs
up,
or
make
any of that type of
sure
stuff.
you
That's
head
all.
over to my guys at AGIProDJ.com. They will take care of you with super fast shipping and amazing customer service. So I hope you have enjoyed this setup and overview of the RANE 1. We do plan on creating more content with the RANE 1, so what do you guys want to see? Leave us a comment below and let us know what we can do for you. Again, this is Icon with Icon
Big up.
Entertainment.
What's his Icon
and
with
I'll catch you
AGI
guys on
Pro and his awesome video. Appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that, Josh. That's actually perfect. All right, let's get through these questions in the chat. The chat had the questions rolling. I'm just gonna keep scrolling until I start seeing it. First of all, Tweak Music Tips. What up, Kova? How you doing? We're just talking some shop. If you want to jump in the Zoom, it's !Zoom at any time. In fact, I'm gonna type it in the chat right now. Boom. Big up Frequent City. Thanks for the follow. Big up Tina. Thanks for the follow. Darth Liquid, once again, 5 months of tier 1. Appreciate you. Let's get through these. Gypsy Kid, what up? What up, y'all? Let's see. Stony, where you at? It says, does it work with Record Box also? That's gonna be a big no. This controller, just like any of the RANE mixers or anything else, the RANE sound cards, they are 100% in the Kool-Aid with Serato. So you won't see. More importantly, record box stuff is only going to work with Pioneer hardware. That's pretty much a given. But Denon broke that by making their decks usable with record box software. Although I'd argue that it doesn't work 100% smooth, in my opinion. Let's see. You get a RANE. You get a RANE. Right? Oh, it's so
sadly, Pioneer's
an amazing feature for silent discos with the split queue. I'm a fan of the split queue also. And for those who aren't familiar with the silent disco format, it is actually a split queue comes in super handy with silent disco, in my opinion. So good comment right there, Meta Pattern. That's totally true. Let's see what else. When do you get 4 channels? Says from the annex. Yeah, I feel you, man. It's not. That's definitely a 2-channel contraption with a line switch, but not 4 simultaneous decks or any kind of like layered mixing or anything like that. One thing that stood out to me too is that all of the effects are software. There's no hardware onboard effects at all, which leads me to believe, and I believe I read this somewhere too, that when you're mixing in DVS, that it is 100% software mixing, and the controller is basically a MIDI controller at that point. And it's not running it through the hardware as like the same as you would with a normal DVS setup. Am I catching that right, Josh? Are you reading that as
no?
correct as
You're
well?
you're 100%. And I think that's the way once
I got no
Serato
audio
DJ,
from you.
Yep.
Oh, my voice is down. There we go. Sorry.
Once Serato DJ became Serato DJ Pro, and a lot of people probably noticed how it sounded different. Everything went under the hood of your Mac pretty much. So while it is important that your sound cards are good sound cards, we're all kind of bottlenecked by Serato DJ Pro, which is fine because it doesn't sound bad.
Mhm.
But that just leaves them the ability to do much more. You probably also realized the hit your CPU took when you started running Pro versus like even Serato DJ. You got to remember Serato DJ was like a 11 megabyte program or something like that ran like less than 3% of your CPU. Now you get Serato DJ Pro and that thing's like 150 megs.
Right.
And you can't even run it really on a really old computer.
Right. So this has actually been the way for a while. The way that the audio is routing from like a 72, is it the same way? Does it switch to?
No, it's the same. And I've voiced this a couple times, and it's probably one of my biggest gripes because I still play vinyl as well. The engine for the hardware effects is no longer determined by the music that's coming by the mixer. It now is block of Serato. So when I play vinyl, I have to tap in if I want to use any hardware effects. It's probably one of my biggest gripes of the whole move away from the mixer doing the heavy lifting to the computer doing the heavy lifting.
That makes sense. I'm sure it allows for a wider feature set though. Especially when it comes to like everyone wants to be able to trigger samples and effects and all kinds of shit and this dual layer mixing and all kinds in Serato Studio now. I mean, they're like, I get it. But it does put a lot less of a demand on the hardware. Honestly, it should be driving the price of the hardware down if you're putting less attention into it to have to take on that workload. Especially if it's like what Pioneer is doing with their FLX mixer, dropping it down to like a $600 price point. And this thing only has a pair of RCA outputs because it's literally just a sound card, right? And in a lot of ways, that's what the workload is being taken on. If the workload is being taken on the computer, then this thing is a big fancy sound card, especially if there's no hardware effects on it at all.
Which I wish they had just put like an echo. It doesn't have to be a fancy echo, just something that is just because I personally don't find any of the echoes in Serato. I don't love any of them.
Let's talk about that. I agree.
Echo,
yeah,
but You have to do some manual stuff to make those echoes sound as lush, the 800 or thousands or the 72, or even the 57 and the 62. I love the 62 effects workflow. It was so good.
Mhm.
But that's when, like I said, the company moved, and the ideologies behind what was coming out was at that point Denon and Newmark, who had basically dove into the controller market, and they're like, we need this to work as much like a SX as it can, because that's sort of the industry standard.
I'd be interested to see where this goes. You know, the sound quality is going to be good sound quality. I mean, if the audio files are solid, then where you're going to hear the difference is more in the processing of the sound. So when it comes to the EQing and the filters and the effects, that's where you're going to hear the difference between it being under the hood of the computer versus the processing being done through dedicated hardware. And the same argument can be made for folks who are making music with dedicated hardware versus software plugins, right? It's a similar thing. They can emulate it to death, but maybe, you know, there's if you're doing a side by side, you can hear a little bit of something different from the process being done with dedicated hardware, with raw power running through it, right? And without it being an emulated environment, right? So I'm curious to see how this develops and how the DJ community embraces it. I have read also, though, that the phono preamps on it are solid. And RANE honestly does a pretty good job with their phono preamps. They've gotten kind of shittier over the years, but all phono preamps have gotten shittier over the years.
Yeah, they took a dive with the 57, and I think that was just because one, you're only getting, was it 12-bit or 16-bit on the sound card, and then the function of that mixer was to get Serato out to people,
right?
Like get people onto Serato, which they did. And then the 62 wasn't bad, but then with the 72 and the 70, they actually ripped out the actual guts of the RANE 2015 rotary and use that. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's what they went with on the one, but I can tell you, after sitting there, like listening to these different mixers through really nice sound systems, I don't want to get into the Pepsi Coke Pioneer verse thing. Right. I love the way RANE sounds. So every time I hear their next unit, I'm like, this even sounds better than the last one. So
I think RANE sounds the best too.
They sound really good. There's a coloration on the sound that isn't accurate. So from a does it bump perspective and does it sound like it's a sound good perspective? Yeah, it sounds great. But from like a sound engineer's perspective, it's almost like you would want something more flat with less color to start from. Kind of like what Beats headphones do to the sound.
Sure, yeah.
They kind of color the sound up, right? And so Pioneer actually has two. I see a comment in the Pioneer signal gets too hot. The sound's pushed. That's consistent with the S9 preamp and the DDJ 1000 preamp. That's not consistent with their Nexus line. The Nexus and the Nexus 2, 900 Nexus 2, the preamp on that is different.
Yeah.
And I haven't pushed the S11, so I don't know the answer to that.
Do you guys want to hear some really nerdy shit about the mixer? One of the reasons why a lot of people cite the RANE mixers sounding the way they do post 57 is because they switched their monitoring style to an attenuated gain structure as opposed to a like simple. So if you're using an 800 and your volumes are at you're in the green and you turn your master knob, that master knob, the LED will reflect that channel. Right. Whereas the master knob on the RANE is actually attenuated, so it actually reflects the sum of the different channels as they're pushed together. So when you're going out of a RANE, you know that your channel output is exactly where you are on your LEDs, not the position of the knob. Like 10 doesn't necessarily mean 10. If your channel's at 1, then you're at 1.
Right.
So when they did that, it allowed you to basically master your mixes while you're mixing. As long as you follow the lighting gain structure and keep it out of the red, you will have your output. If you look at your output of a mix, it'll be perfect if you watch it. And that was a huge thing when they came out with the 72 and even the 62, that made mixing and making mixtapes so much better.
I really liked when they had the Ableton integration in Serato.
Oh God, that was amazing. I can't believe they tried to bring it back, and it just never took off.
I liked the flexibility. I made a couple mixtapes with that. That was super awesome.
Yeah.
Those that know me know that I'm diehard record box since like 2017. So anything after that, I run a little bit late. So I'm glad that you have all this experience with the RANE and Serato products, because I caught it right on the tail end when RANE was, in my opinion, back then, RANE was kind of competing with Vestax to be the turntablist brand, and they were also moving more towards like a consumer-based DJ and not the professional, in my opinion. And it's good to see them coming out with this controller. This looks like a full-on pro controller. I could see this being used for mobile. XLR outs for booth and master is pretty dope. And the even though it's a 2-channel mixer, one of the mic inputs can be an aux input as well, which is pretty sick. And it's got in both mic inputs have 2-band EQ, and they're XLR, they're Nutric, so they can be 1/4 inch or XLR. So that's all like mobile DJs want this shit kind of shit, right? Another thing that is dope and it's actually getting some kind of pushback is the power supply is internal, which means you just got to plug in the IEC cable into the back of it in order for it to work. And which is dope because even the newest Pioneer flagship controllers, all their power supplies are external. And so you've got this like part that is usually not very road friendly that you got to take with you on the road, unwrap it and wrap it. It's like a mic AC adapter. Eventually it's going to fucking break and you got to get another one, right? It's like a breakable part. So just having a straight up IEC port in the back is awesome. I did notice, and I'll pull up a picture here actually. Let me pull up this picture real quick. I did notice that, where is it at? Let me go down here. Let me find it real quick. Okay, where's the rear view? Let me look at the rear. I gotta look at the rear of this thing. Let's see here.
Don't say that while the Zoom link is out there.
Where's it at?
While you're looking for that, another thing it has,
Yes.
it allows you to shut the power to the motors off, but still use it almost like in a CDJ format, almost like internal mode.
That's
so
cool.
If people come over and they see the platter spinning, and kids or
Right.
drunk brides, and they do the wiki, and they just grab the record.
Right.
I think it's a quick button that you can just dump it into platter free mode, and they work kind of like a CDJ, well, not in the sense of CDJ, but you have pitch bend, but nothing happens on the top.
That makes sense. That's actually dope. I would like for be able to stop the platters too if I need to, or at least have like a silent cue type of option if it's a moving platter situation. Because I live or die by silent cue with turntables now. I fucking love silent cue. For those that don't know about silent cue, I got a video of it on my YouTube, ! VOD. All right, so here's a picture of one of the big pet peeves so far that people have been discovering with the RANE 1. So can y'all hear that?
Oh, is it a fan?
Yeah, it's a fan, and the fan makes a little bit of noise when you fire up the platter. And honestly, like I can understand why to me that's what you get if you are gonna put that power supply internally. Is you're gonna have to, and if you get the power supply plus all those motors, motors with a high enough torque to be able to spin those platters around, and the sound card all pulling power, then yeah, you're for sure gonna need to put a fan in that beast. So I'm not surprised there's a fan in there at all.
That'd be funny as silent disco.
Just a fan going? That'd be hilarious. It's kind of noisy though. A fan doesn't need to be that noisy. That's some, there's better fan technology than that. The noise that it was making, I don't know if y'all could hear it, but it's like a cheap fan sounding fan. You know what I mean? Like it was maybe need to be reseated or need some bones bearings in that, right? From the Annex. You know about those bones bearings, water cooling mod, dude. You know it's coming.
It's got pipes sticking out the back of it.
Dude, you know the water cooling mod is coming, dude. Oh, that's
E-Rock seems like candidate one for that.
right. Totally ceramic. Yeah, exactly. From you know it, right, dude? Bones bearings, baby. It needs a little smooth ride, man. For those who don't know, From the Annex was his last stream. It was super dope. He was taking apart those Techniques CD players that were built like a 10-inch 1200. Someone give me the model name. Come on, help me out.
DZ1000.
Yes, it or DZ 1200 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was taking them apart. There you go. Yep, the DZ 1200. He was taking them apart and repurposing them as DVS controllers with a record on top. So he's basically making 10-inch versions of these decks that we were just looking at. Super dope, man. Some real nerdy hackery going on.
Love it.
At From the Annex. I love it, dude. Yeah, seriously. So make sure you catch that stream. In fact, if you want to throw a link up to the VOD, Mr. Librarian, please feel free to do so. Because I highly recommend everyone watch that show. That was super entertaining.
He's called the Carpenter for a reason.
Yeah, right.
Building dreams every single day.
One thing I'm seeing as far as so we can all talk about how dope this thing is and all the things we like about it. One more thing that I like about it too is that it is a class compliant client sound card on it as well, which means you can plug the other USB port directly into your streaming computer and it'll be recognized as a sound card that you can use in OBS. It's a class compliant sound card. You don't need any fancy fucking drivers or anything, which is awesome. If you are using a Mac and you're having this issue with every time Apple decides to update their operating system, all of your audio drivers fucking break and you got to wait a year for your audio drivers to be updated because they're all not being developed anymore. And usually it's somebody from a freaking Reddit forum does it. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a class compliant device. Super dope. So the second USB port has multiple purposes. It can be for a tag team situation, or it can be the part that connects to your streaming computer. You know what I mean? So that's sick. And then the 2-band mic, I talked about that. It's not very, $1,500 is kind of steep in my opinion for this type of controller, but honestly, I think that RANE has the fandom where they can come in at $1,500 and be okay. Looks like Grasshopper's coming in. Let's let him in. We don't need to go too high to recognize this. We're good. So $1,499 US is pretty steep, especially for a lot of DJs who are out of work right now.
Yeah. How do you justify that right now?
Right.
But I do know that at least 2 shops, AGI included, sold out in under an hour.
Really? Yeah. So the fandom is there.
It always is knee jerk. First day, people that got a credit card and some money and
keeping up with the Joneses.
AGI, does what is it? The no interest, slow payment shit. So
yep.
Yeah.
Grasshopper, how you doing, sir? Welcome in.
No, man.
No interest.
Chilling. So yeah, I still think that's a steep price for a controller, especially when the DDJ 1000 SRT is less than that considerably, and arguably has more feature sets than this RANE.
They definitely left some things off it.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think it's only 2 channels and it's $1,500. That's nuts.
It's the motors. Those motors they probably cost them a couple $100.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the build too, the build quality. That thing's made of metal. Yeah. And what's actually dope about it too is I'm noticing. Sorry, I felt that one coming on. I'm noticing that there's feet underneath it that lift it up a couple of inches. And for those of us who are cable management weirdos about like keeping our cables nice and tidy, like that little bit of elevation is like all the space you need to tuck those fucking cables in and shit like that. So like that's clutch in my opinion. Even though a lot of us are rolling in road cases, like if you have it like set up in your studio or something like that, and you want to keep your cables nice and tidy, like that's a cosmetic thing, but I think it's a plus for the build. I think more controllers should actually have that that space underneath. I imagine that's good for cooling too, having it open underneath. So,
Yeah.
guilty of oh yeah, phantom power for the mic. No phantom power for the mic. No. You'll still need honestly, like there isn't a lot of DJ controllers that have a 48 volt running out to a mic.
I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Just line
I definitely know my Roland doesn't have it because that's people's biggest complaint all the time. So yeah.
I've as far as like mobile gigs go, I have very little use for a phantom powered microphone. This microphone obviously phantom powered, but it's running to an audio interface that provides a 48 volt out. So we're good. But I'm not going anywhere. This mic is staying right here. So
For sure.
on a mobile side of things, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you're
None
in a,
says from the I don't know. A single controller has a 48 volt on it for a mic. Good.
when you're in a venue, you always have a mic balancer, you have a board, you got something to plug into that's always there for you.
Yeah.
You know, or even some of the nicer mixers, obviously, like the higher end RANE mixers and all those, they all have really nice phantom power built in. Or if they don't, it's plenty to push that mic and make it sound right.
It's fine. The most places at the venues, you're running to a front of house mixer, and that front of house mixer will be able to send you 48 volts, no problem.
100%.
Yep. There's probably some bars where if it isn't like that, it's because you're doing the PA yourself, and in that situation, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can bring your own mixer at that point, right? Yeah, Disco Kitty hiding cords is a big thing for me too. Not for Chris Hopkins. He loves to take pictures of his dangling cables at his gigs and send them to me before he gets started, just because he knows that I'll go fucking crazy.
Yeah. I'll just intentionally make a mess of it.
Yeah, he'll make it extra messy before the shot to set it up. Like, every time I'm like, no, just like, yeah, exactly. You Disco Kitty, exactly.
I got a RANE 68, and I still don't know how to use that thing. So
sounds like Josh could help you out. 68's his favorite workflow, he said.
No, not 68, 62. 62.
Oh, 62.
Yo, 68 was dope, but it was just like, it was unturned earth in the style of mixer that it was. Like, to have everything offset to the side, it had the cue points running down the side, and they were those like Jolly Rancher buttons that everybody hated.
Oh yeah, those are terrible.
But it was a great sounding mixer, and the people I know that love that mixer are still using it because they learned it. They learned to exploit every single thing on it, and they crush it with it. But for me, I look at that and it reminds me of sort of an Allen and Heath, but not quite.
The Jolly Rancher buttons look like they're on this controller also as the headers for the performance pads. So like, you know, where you choose the hot cues or sampler or slicer or whatever, the header buttons. It looks like that they're the same buttons.
No, they're all Akai now. So they walk down the hall and they go, give us your best pads.
Yeah. As far as performance pads go, you're right. Totally. They ain't fucking around anymore. They're like, you got the best pads, Akai. Hook us up with your pads.
That's literally what they do. They're like, all right, go to Denon to get the glass and the computer screens and that stuff. And then they go to Akai and ask for the pads and the knobs.
Go to Newmark, get the turntables and and now they got Franken controller. And honestly, like, I know that a lot of DJs, including my homie DJ Epic, we were talking about earlier, that this is exactly the controller that they've been asking for. A controller with moving platters, like motorized platters, and has the latch effects on the for the effect style, like the S9 basically innovated, right? That latch style effect. Go ahead.
I can't tell that story.
Oh, where that came from?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that story offline.
Okay. The NDA hasn't run out yet. No, but so the S9 with the latch effects style mixer in the middle with the moving platters on the outside. Like I know a lot of DJs that have been asking for that for a long time, and my answer has always been, "Yo, that's a really specific thing to ask for. I don't think we're ever going to see that." And here we are seeing it for $1,500. But we're seeing it, so I'm not mad at it at all. One thing that I was getting to as far as the criticisms go, also was where's it at here?
We got a new follower.
You got a new follower? Hi.
It wasn't me. I didn't make that.
Heine Show? Yo.
Was not me. Was not me.
Big up Heine Show. I don't know who you are, but if you've been on this channel before, I know exactly who you are. I appreciate you being here. Heine Show, exclamation point Zoom. DJ Quilombo. Appreciate you. Thank you for the follow. Big up. Welcome. This is DJ's Not DJing, and that's exactly what it is. And right now we're talking about the RANE 1 controller that just came out. One thing that I like about this controller, and I know this is stupid, but is the start-stop plunger button. Like, to me, that's just like old school 1200. Totally pointless and doesn't make you like anything any better or whatever. But just to see that like still living on, I know Heine Show is down. To see that still living on, I'm happy to see that personally. I like the plunger button. DJ Tech Tools makes a really good point too. Let me throw this up on the screen real quick, y'all. And tell me what you think. I want to know what y'all think. I'm talking a lot here. DJ Tech Tools makes a really good point, and they say that they should really go modular with this and consider taking this as the deck and even releasing a skinny little mixer like the old Vestax 06. And it wouldn't be like this deck, honestly, is a better layout than their RANE 12. Like, I like this layout better than the RANE 12 layout, personally. But let's make it maybe make it a 10-inch platter, the RANE 10. You know what I mean?
There was debates for, I don't want to say years, seemingly forever, which size to make these. Not these, but like the 10 or the 12s. Because everybody's like, well, why do you, if you're going to get a 12-inch platter, why not just use a 1200? And then it was, well, you know, what if you're trying to save space? You could do a 10-inch. And no one's really going to care. Guys use 10 inches on 12-inch platters all the time, and they love it. It's every single argument you could ever think of for and against. Every single size was presented because, like I said before, no matter what you do, the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people is going to be like, well, why'd they do that size?
Right.
You know, because that's not the size I use. And I personally was like 7. I would have liked 10. You know,
yeah.
I think I echo the sentiment of most women with that.
The giggity. The 7-inch, I can see it, you know, being acceptable because of 45s. So like 7 being the smallest you could possibly go if you're going to do a moving platter thing. I personally would like to see a 10-inch deck like that. Like, that would be sick. And Denon is already kind of doing one, right? With the screen and everything.
Yeah.
So like, it's already there.
Maybe that's why they didn't do it, you know, because you can only create so much in-house competition. You come out with something that's better than the guy next to you, then, you know, then he has to go out and make something better than the thing you just made. But I think a 4-channel 10-inch with everything and charge $2,500, that could be an installation unit.
Right, totally. So that folks like me would have to go back to using Serato again. That's all right. I'm not mad at Serato, and there's apps, there's programs to do that. It's fine. You guys know it's funny because like I get messages from like folks that play the Serato record box game like people play the Apple Android game. Like they're riding hard for their gang, right? And so I get like record box haters that like to throw jabs whenever there's something that is like not compatible with Rekordbox. And I did get a couple of emails from those guys today. Like, hey, what do you think of this new RANE controller, guy? And can't really use it with your Rekordbox now, can you? And good on them. But honestly, I think that this controller is sick. And I would like to see more of the moving platter tech spill into the Pioneer line for sure. I mean, shit, the new S11 has the USB jacks now, right? The S11 has USB jacks on it for controllers. You can plug 12s into the S11, right? So why not upgrade their existing turntable line to have some sort of a HID output over USB into the S11? Upgrade their turntable so that you can use it as a regular turntable, or you can put it in HID mode and connect it to your mixer over USB, and go get next level with that shit. And if you're using the thing about this with the S11, unlike these modular decks that we're looking at with the RANEs, is the control pads are already on the S11, so you don't need to do a lot of crazy redundant stuff on these turntables. Maybe just a menu navigation and select instant doubles and the DVS, right? The signal. Totally doable. And I think that it would hit the market for sure. Rekordbox says meta pattern. Oh shit.
I think I had one complaint, and it's not really a complaint on the RANE behalf, but as we know, with the S11, they released Scratch Bank. And the cool thing about the S11,
Scratch Bank, by the way, terrible name.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Fact. When you engage it on the S11, it actually moves your track that's playing onto like a third deck or a ghost deck, and then you can cut. So if you're mixing two records together, you load up your scratch and you can cut over the two records mixing, jump back out. Anything else, even the 1 and the 72 MK2, the Scratch Bank just accesses your scratch samples that you've loaded into your Scratch Bank ahead of time, which looks a lot like your sample player, and then you can cut with them, and then that's it. It's not a third track, but what you can do is like.
And this is all software based, so it's not an exclusive feature to the new hardware. It's actually rolling out to the previous anybody who's using Serato DJ Pro version X, right?
They can get it.
Okay.
But the problem is the only, as far as it stands right now, I've put it in like, let's get this fixed. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if there's limitations to the hardware. But I want that ability to have two tracks playing and then be able to cut on a third track. With this and any other things, you can't do that. You can get back to the other track though. That was something a lot of people didn't realize. So you have track A going, you load track B, you get it lined up, to mix. Then you go into your Scratch Bank, you cut for a couple bars. Then you hold shift, hit any pad, that deck, that track that you had before loaded that you had lined up comes back and you can drop it in. So that's how that works.
So I have a whole other folder named Scratch Bank that's been around for a long time, and I don't know if it's going to mess up my software by having another folder with a whole different kind of media in it called Scratch Bank. Well, we shall see.
So real quick funny story, that folder you were talking about when I was in the Army circulated amongst all the men. And it was actually called Leonard Part 6. So anytime somebody was like, what movie do you want to watch? Don't open Leonard Part 6.
Don't open Leonard Part 6, whatever you do.
How come this folder is like 75 gigs?
Yeah, long movie. The Scratch Bank actually looks really dope. And one thing that I have to do currently, or before the Scratch Bank was introduced, because there's a version of it in Rekordbox too, was to just do it with the prepare window. I got really used to using Command P a lot to send things to the prepare window, and then you could jostle back and forth from there. Got a battle royal going down. Big up, Doctor. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Distorted Daydreams. What up? Appreciate the follow. Some good names today. So let me make sure I got through all these questions on. Did I miss anybody's question? Go ahead and post it again. Did I miss anybody's question about the RANE 1 and you're just dying for us to see the question? Because I apologize for not seeing it. I'll let that buffer up. It has analog signal ends, line and phono. So you can run your signal into it that way. There's also an aux input for the second mic, which is kind of nice. I think that honestly, like, this could be a good controller on a mobile use if you aren't worried about it being so goddamn heavy. Like, it's heavy as shit. It weighs as much as a 1200. Mm-hmm. Does it come in really tacky gold? We can make that happen.
I do know for a fact it got sent to 12-inch skins, so they will have something out soon.
What IP rating is it? Gabe, did you win it? Oh, get it, Gabe. Wait, how come he's the only one left? Is there nobody there? How did that work? Did it break? Gabe's just sitting there on the collecting health, and there's nobody left.
6 of us drop bombs, so.
Let me. You guys are breaking the avatars. Let me get it back up. All right. There you go. Welcome back,
Josh.
Everyone. Yes, sir.
Do you know? Well, I would assume since they have the motors in them, that if the platters feel weighted, like similar to 1200s for scratching and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a high and low torque setting, just like the 12. And most people default to the high. It'll take you a little bit to get used to, especially going to a smaller format, but it's pretty strong.
And then also, it's crazy looking at the top of that. It reminds me of like I don't know which model it is, the Denon CDs that had like the moving platter like that.
Very much so. It's the same thing.
Pretty much. It has such the similar look to it. When I was looking at it, I'm just like, the second you're like, oh, they own all these companies. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. They got it's like they all got the same Legos and they're putting different shit together with them, right?
There was one other shortcoming that I was actually pretty upset about. They neglected to put a volume knob on for the sampler, for your sample player.
Oh, that's a big no-no for me.
But you can remap the other mic volume to that.
Okay.
So mic 2, you can remap.
But then you're pulling your preamp on mic 2.
Yeah, I don't know if it disables it or not. You know, if you go into Serato, it has like an option to like overwrite current MIDI mapping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's gonna like turn that amp up even if you have nothing plugged into it.
Mm-hmm.
I did the same thing on the front of my 72. There's mic controls for mic 2, and I don't ever use mic 2, so I remapped all that shit to Mixed Emergency, and it hasn't been an issue for me so far.
No, there's no timing lights on it. Just the pattern. I didn't see any timing lights on it. Let me double check.
I don't think there is.
No timing
lights. What
lights.
they did put is those little tick marks. There's one at noon.
Yep.
And one at 2.
Let me put it up on the screen again. There you go.
For,
so he's talking about these marks at the very top of the deck, and then also at 1 o'clock, and that's so you can line up the mark on the record with that as your cue point start. Anybody who uses records knows exactly what that's for.
So the biggest thing about that isn't so much work. A lot of people move to phase, and the biggest shortcoming of phase is because phase is recorded in relative movement, and controllers and vinyl is actual movement, which allows you to use oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the feature. It's the instant double feature that keeps the records at the same point no matter where you put them.
Where it doesn't skip or it doesn't slip or whatever that's called.
Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Maybe somebody in the chat remember. Basically what it does is it gives your records
or whatever it's called.
Sticker lock.
Sticker lock. Yeah, that's
so
it.
This has sticker lock. So when you're juggling, those points will always be in the same spot. If you try to use sticker lock with phase, it will never work.
It drifts.
It more than drift, it's always in a different place because there's no absolute point with those.
Right. And so that I can see that being clutch right there. And I can't wait to get my hands on this thing, man. I want to fucking just shred on it. It looks like a lot of fun. And I'm telling you, man, if this were around when I was looking at controllers when I bought my DDJ 1000 a few years back, I would have definitely had a solid eye on this one. But even now, I would say that the DDJ 1000 edges this one out. What do you guys think? Chat, what do you think? Does this still edge out? Does this new controller
I
with
think
the
so.
moving platters, does the DDJ 1000 still edge it out?
I think it
I think
does.
so.
Yeah.
I still have the SX3, and I think I'd still rather have that too.
Yeah.
It's not a blowout or anything, but I do think it edges it out.
Yeah. From Yannick says, yep. Yep.
I think part of the idea was like Dirty Digit said, trying to get turntablists who are never going to walk away from their Vestex 06 mix stick 05 Pro and 1200 and get them onto something, because a lot of those guys are they're still using TTM 54s and 52s. They're just diehard RANE guys, and they're never going to move to anything that's a controller. But maybe
No use for anger.
But maybe with a RANE.
Dude, no use for anger. What's funny is he has DVS capabilities and he still plays all of vinyl, which is fucking great. And I know for a fact that he could very much stream a Serato set, no problemo, and sticking to his guns with the boomer discs and Discogs.
Boomer discs.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Big up to homie Evan. Coming in like Nufa spin back, right? What up, Mike Airstrike? Appreciate you. Kenny Dread, what's up, man? He says he doesn't like the moving platter. Yeah, see, some people, a moving platter isn't for them, right? By the way, today is IMF Dread's birthday. So if y'all want to wish IMF Dread happy birthday in the chat, highly encouraged right now. Let's embarrass this fool. And Kenny, if you're not doing anything, jump in the Zoom, man. We'd love to have you in here. We got a little bit of time left. Happy birthday. Exactly. Big up. So one thing that I saw on the rumor mill, and I lost the link, damn it. Let me find it. We're going to get in. By the way, we're wrapping on the RANE 1. Anybody want to have anything else to say about the RANE 1? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
I think seems like a solid controller if it's the first one they're going to put out. So it doesn't even need to match the 1000 like bit for bit, pound for pound. I think it's just a good solid first controller. This is, if it ends up being really good, then the next thing they come up with will probably be even better.
100% agree.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat too. I'm looking forward to see what the next generation thing's going to happen after this.
But yeah, you got to walk before you can run, I guess. Easy for me to say, but it seems like it makes sense.
And it's consistent for RANE to kind of do things at different price points with different feature sets, right? The 70 and the 72, right, is the prime example. So the question is this their flagship, or do they have like something with a screen in it and kind of shit going on like planned as like the RANE 2 or whatever they're fucking, this is the RANE 1, what would it be, the RANE 1.5? I don't know, but you get what I'm saying, like the 1X or whatever, like
that's what I was gonna say,
right? Yeah, something like that, right? Like is this, so in other words, is this the junior varsity, or is this their flagship varsity controller coming out the gate? And I'm curious to see if they're going to one up this, or if they're going to dumb it down for a lower price point. They'll say, this is our $1,500 controller. Okay, it's a little bit expensive, so this is our $999 controller, and it's missing these few things, right? I'm curious. I'm definitely curious. One rumor that I've been seeing is a possibility of, speaking of the junior varsity, I've been seeing that there's a rumor that Pioneer could be announcing a S10 at NAMM this weekend. Anybody else hear about that?
Kenny says he's in the waiting room.
Oh, word. We'll get him in. And you guys hear about that? The S10 thing. Let's bring this up.
I know there's going to be something new, but didn't know what it was. And is that going to be the thing that they give away for that tournament that they're hosting?
Yeah, who knows, right?
Tournament?
Let's see. We'll talk about the tournament in a second too. That's on my notes. You're right. Let's see here.
Your girlfriend gets you birthday balloons?
Yeah.
Kenny, happy birthday, brother.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
Man, feeling good. Ate some tri-tip, you know what I mean?
Tight.
Feeling
Tri-tip,
good.
always for the win.
Belly full of meat.
All right, so this is Bayardo Rugama. He is really loud YouTube on the DJ review space. I enjoy his videos most of the time. But he broke this one, and I've been seeing it all over Reddit as well. But he's probably made the best video for it. And we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to get the gist in just a second here. Let's take a look.
DJ's brand new mixer, the successor to the S9 and little brother to the S11.
Okay, let's get past some of these intro.
What's up, bros? DJ Bar with some more breaking news. A photo has leaked on the internet revealing what appears to be a light version of the Pioneer DJM S11/S9 mixer. We cannot yet confirm whether or not this is a legit unit or if it's just a prototype unit. However, I will say the photo is pretty convincing. In my opinion, this is a unit that I think will hit the masses. It only makes sense. We saw with RANE when they released the RANE 72, they followed up with the RANE 70 as well, which pretty much eliminated the screen. It only makes sense that Pioneer puts out a light version of the S11 because the S11 is a little bit pricey at 2,000 bucks. It's a steep ask and not a lot of people necessarily want a screen in their controller. And I'd love to get your opinion on that. If you guys own the S11 or the RANE 72, do you guys find yourself using the screen or do you guys see it as just a gimmick? From my personal experience with mixers that do have built-in screens, honestly, I find myself never using them, but that's just me. Let me know if you guys actually use them. I know if you're a scratch DJ, the screen does come in handy, allowing you to see the waveforms, allowing you to see what you're actually scratching, but the purest argument on that is that you should never be looking down at the screen. I think we're going to be able to debunk this image in just a few days. NAMM is scheduled
I want a screen, fool! Give me that screen!
So let's take a closer look and dissect it, see what the differences are between the S9, the S11, and what I'm calling the S10. Let me know what you call it down in those comments below. So this is the leak image.
I want a screen in my toaster.
Around the internet, and right off the bat, you can see that there is no screen. This does look like an S9, so a lot of you guys may say, hey, this looks just like an S9. Maybe it's just an S9. However, if you take a look here at the effects section, you can see that this is no S9. You may be saying to yourself, maybe they got rid of some of the effects. I don't think so, because what they've done is they've added a secondary function here. So when you hold down the shift, you can see that you can still trigger your beat effects, your Serato effects, which traditionally were found on this side.
All right, so we're gonna pause it here because this is a good shot. So check this out. So those who have an S9, you can immediately see the differences. First of all, I'm probably gonna repeat some of the stuff that he says because we're just looking at the same shit. But you can see that the S9 normally it has these headers, these hot cue, roll, auto loop, and stuff. Those are usually there's one that controls both sides. So now it has independent on either side, which is what the S11 has, but it doesn't have the screen in the middle. So I can see this being very useful for some DJs who aren't looking to spend 2K on a mixer.
And it's definitely new.
Now you also see that there is a MIDI. Additionally, for secondary
scratch bank on the last pad, yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. I mean, because I have the S9 also.
In this photo, you can see that this mixer is borrowing the top of the S9 and the bottom of the S11.
But splitting them into two is
I actually love that because one of my biggest pet peeves with the S9 was the pad mode function. When you hit these, it triggers all the pads.
So this is the leak of the S10 we're looking at right now. And then he's doing a side-by-side with the S9, S10, and S11. And you can see the S9 on the left is the one that we're used to seeing quite a bit, and then the S11 is the one I've only had a couple of weeks with so far, and it's fucking awesome, by the way. Big up Arvin. Big up Arvin's Liquor for sponsoring that mixer, man. It's so dope. Could never afford that mixer. It's been a blessing. I'm never gonna want another mixer. It's so perfect. This S10 though, I can see this being like either a replacement of the S9 or being like the mid tier between the S9 and the S11, right?
Yeah, I definitely see it being
and
the
I
new
was never
S9.
a fan of that.
It's gonna
I'm an
be the
instant doubler,
the
so
S10 obviously. It's going to obsolete out this.
Or
the
S9 Mark II or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah,
I
totally.
always have my samplers ready to go on
And it's for
deck
people who
1,
wanna take
and
their
on
lap.
deck 2, I always have my hot cues ready to go. So I love that they fixed that. However, they did get rid of the smooth echo effect that you have here. Now, another thing that I'd like to point out, and it's actually something that I was really happy with when they released the S11, I was happy that they finally aligned the filter effects, the low pass, high pass filter knob, as well as the trim. It always bothered me that the trim was on the side as well as the filter.
He makes a solid point here. It does bother me that on the S9, the trim knob is off to the side by the filter knob. And for the longest time when I was using the S9, I was grabbing the treble in the EQ instinctively, thinking that it was the trim because of where it's located, right? And then I had to like, muscle memory had to change for the trim to remember that the trim was off to the side on the S9. So putting them all in line is one of my favorite things about the S11. You see it on the right, but it looks like on this S9 MK2 or S10 or whatever they're going to call it, they're still going with the trim off to the side. Yeah, totally.
It almost looks like the same body.
Yeah, totally.
There's not a whole lot of differences.
That's not a big deal.
I mean,
over here you can
isn't,
see
other
that
than
they
that
did
middle
adopt
and
the same format as the
shit.
S9. Your trim and your filter knob is right underneath. Now on the top, here's something that they actually did different and something that they borrowed off the controller line. So you can see that you still have two computer outputs. You have your A and your B, and then you have a line and a phono selection for it. Now traditionally on both the S11 and the S9, you had a knob to be able to switch between these, but now they've gone full controller. Now you just have a switch as opposed to a knob. Lastly, the loading section, you can see they've adopted the bigger buttons found on the S11. Now, additionally, I am hearing rumors that this mixture will incorporate Bluetooth. I can't confirm that. I don't see anything that can indicate that this controller will have Bluetooth built in. I also...
What would be the point of having Bluetooth built in to the... what would be the point of having Bluetooth built in to a DJ mixer? Can someone give me a...
You could iPhone connect to the Bluetooth and send a song in there, maybe.
Also, microphone, wireless mic.
Oh,
good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do they have an app, like a Pioneer app that can pair with it?
And you might be able to load tracks to it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a public announcement right now. Okay, there is somebody going off of my text messages right now, asking me for fucking tech support on their fucking stream while I'm literally fucking streaming right now.
Names.
Like, that's fucking wrong, yo. Like, come on. I'm literally in my goddamn stream, and I've got someone. I'm 4 messages deep on a fucking tech support text messages right now. I have not replied, and I got the bubbles waiting for more fucking words. Like, yo, I'm on my fucking stream right now. Seriously.
Yeah.
God
YouTube
damn,
guy.
dude. Like, fucking use the Google for Christ's sake. Let's keep on rolling.
Also don't know how they would implement
That's
that. Now what I'm
horrible,
going to
dude.
do
I'm
is I'm
sorry.
going to go ahead and create a Photoshop render of what this
I'm
mixture
sorry,
will
I'll
look
wait
like
till later,
so
bro.
that we have something a little bit better to look
He
at.
said, I'll wait till later.
Either hang up or dial no use for anger.
Right? Oh my god, dude. Jesus.
Nice.
Yo. So okay, we get the gist. So this is going to be somewhere in between the S9 and the S11, and taking away the screen, but adding a lot of functionality that is in the S11 right now that is not in the S9. And pretty good stuff, man. Give wrong advice as Pixel Pusher. What do you guys think the price point is going to be on an S9 MK2 if the current? So let's look before we guess. Let's do our research, okay? A current S9. S9. Let's see if we want to buy an S9 right now. You can get an S9 looks like they're starting at $1,700. You can get them used for $1,200. So let's say $1,699 is the asking price for a new S9. And then the S11 is coming in at $2,099. So $2,100. So what's up, Aiden Scott? How you doing, sir? Jump in here. Exclamation point Zoom. How you doing? Bernharda, thanks for the follow. So if we're looking at the current S9 being $1,699, what do you think that this new one is going to be? Do you think they're going to keep it at the same price point?
It's going to be the same price. They'll do what Apple does.
Yep.
You don't think that they'll drop the current S9 to like maybe S9 Mark Ones are going to be $1,200, and then the S9 Mark II is $1,700, and then so they'll have a 12, 17, and a 2K kind of thing?
I feel like there wouldn't be a reason to even make the S9 anymore after this, though.
Right. They don't
know what I mean?
stock or left
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, they're going to stop
after that,
making
it's done.
Well, they're not making it anymore, but they got to get rid of the ones that they have.
Oh yeah, totally.
Right.
I feel
They'll
like
do what Apple does.
but like Chris said, it'll be around the same price.
Right.
I hope. Fuck.
Yo, big up Aiden Scott. Aiden Scott was first of all was rated by who were they rated? Who's he rated by today?
Yeah, I don't know. So
The Funk Hunters or somebody?
So I was down here. I rated Aiden, and I was down here in the lab, and I went to go eat dinner. I walked upstairs. You texted that he had 350 people. I'm like, I've been off his stream for 7 seconds. What happened?
It's a hell of a raid, Joshua Carl. Nice, good looking out, dude.
Well, you know.
The Funk Hunters, big up. He had like 350 people in his room, and I was like, hot damn, party up in here. I stuck it in the mashed potatoes, had a good little dance. He didn't see me because his chat was moving like a fucking rock star, which is fine. I don't expect it. But yo, big up Aiden, man. Great stream earlier. Good stuff. You held it down. Daedalus, what up? I have a DJM 600 for sale. It says no use for anger. $1,700. Yeah. Yep. Like I said, if it's $1,700 from that, I'm just paying for the S11. Because for $400 more, you can get the S11, and it's the S11.
But if the only difference is a screen, is that worth $400?
Let's bring that up to the chat. Would you use the screen, yo? Straight up. And how would you use the screen? I have my answer, but I want to know what everyone says. Nope says no use for anger. Chris is saying, Hopkins is saying no, for sure.
I mean, it's not for sure, but I don't know if that screen's worth $400.
Well, you know, here's kind of like my thing on the screen. Somebody's been using the 72. The waveform display, not so much. But to have all your effects and your effects parameters right in front of you, so you know, like,
yes, the touchscreen digit. Go ahead.
What your trim is going to be on an Echo, like what, you know what I mean? Like being able to just look and go, oh, I don't want this Echo trail to be this long. I can trim it right here. It's all in front of me. I never keep waveform display up. I think that's kind of meh.
I'll tell you, I like the screen on the S11. I think that there could be more utilization of a screen on a mixer. There could still be more development, especially as much as DJ has changed in the last year, as far as like obviously streaming and things like that. But the functionality of a screen, I didn't think that I would use a screen at all, especially not for waveforms. I don't even look at the fucking waveforms on my laptop screen. I'm going to be that guy, and everyone likes to be that guy. I'll be that guy. I've been mixing since you didn't have waveforms, and you had to mix by ear. All right, I went and said it. Boomer acknowledged. But my real reason isn't that. It's more of it's a combination of, it's a factor of that, but not in the fact that I feel like I'm too good for mixing with the waveforms or even the sync button. It's because I'm so stuck in my old ways that it's actually too complicated for me to do it any other way. Like I'm sync button, believe it or not, sync button is too complicated. I'd rather just mix by ear. So, you know, a lot of similar things go with where the technology shifts. And
betrays you anyways.
People said it betrays you.
Right? So the screen watching the waveforms is not my thing. But having an interface with a touch screen is sick. I really like the XY parameter, what was that? What was the old thing called? The touchpad that made the effects all crazy.
Oh, the Chaos Pad.
Chaos Pad,
yeah.
The Chaos Pad type effects that you can do with it. You can. That's pretty dope because there's an XY and you can drag your finger to the different corners and it does different things like a high pass filter, a low pass filter, delay, echoes, reverbs. Pretty cool. The Chaosillator, yeah, totally. And then I really like all of the different MIDI functionalities that you can trigger on and off from the S11 interface. It's actually really handy to have that all there. One thing that I miss or that I wish that that was actual physical button on the S11 is a silent Q button. As I mentioned, I use silent Q a lot. And actually also another thing that I wish was on the S11 was, this sounds stupid, but is a play button for when you're in internal mode. So that you can pause and play from the mixer.
They don't have a transport control like in the presets?
It's in the screen. It's in the screen. It's not in the buttons.
Gotcha.
So
dude, that's a lifesaver, man. I've used that thing so many times.
Yeah. So I actually, because of the way that I use my computer, I actually remapped the back button and the load buttons on both sides to be the internal switch, and to switch it to internal to clean my needle, and then the transport, play, pause, just for that reason. And those two buttons, I needed those to be physical buttons. And then I actually leave my screen on, if anybody has the S11, you don't have to worry about it. It's whatever. But I use it on MIDI setup B. That's what I use. And it's got the silent Q buttons in there. And so the silent Q buttons are always readily available for me there. Yeah, I could see myself using the screen a lot. One thing that is easy to do, super easy to do, it's just take a little bit of a software update from the DJ software and a firmware update from the DJ mixer, would be to be able to pipe the Twitch chat into the screen. And that would be legit. I would love to see the Twitch chat just ticking away on that screen. I would use it. I would keep it in that view a lot.
Is it big enough for that?
Right now I'm currently putting my iPad above the DJ mixer underneath the camera.
The screen on the mixer are you going to be able to read a Twitch chat in there?
Yeah, you'd be like,
yeah, it's really good resolution. It's super good resolution.
Yeah.
Let me check the chat.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want the screen either. I'm just saying, is it worth $400? That's a different question.
True. True.
You know, that's.
Yeah, the S11 is a 909 on steroids. You're absolutely right, Yepa. Especially the S11 SE. It's even got the stripes. I love the 909, man. The 909 was such an innovative mixer. That was like my favorite fucking mixer for a long time. That 909 was the best mixer, dude. Straight up. Such a good mixer. I remember
S13.
S13 with HDMI output. Straight up, dude. Put the screen on your fucking flat screen, like whatever is on the S11 screen is like on your wall. The effects on it were fun though, man, and I really liked the effects that you can assign to the up and down faders. There's some of that in the new S11, but it's not as much. It's not everything that was in the 909. One thing that I liked about the 909, you can set the frequency cutoff of the filter based on the up and down fader. So you can do a low pass as you turn it down instead of actually turning it down. It low passes it out, which is kind of cool. Is it worth it though? Right. That's the big question. What do you guys think? Would you, faced with the S11 or the S9 Mark II at a $400 price point difference, $300, let's say $300 price point difference, would you drop $300 on the extra screen? Zoom, what do you think?
I'm good with my S9, man. Honestly,
I buy the RANE.
You'd rather get that RANE controller?
The 72 or whatever.
And there's a good point. That new S9 MK2 is not far off from that full-on brand new RANE controller that's got everything.
Yeah.
Would you
True.
go? Would you
Price
go for the
point.
S9 MK2, or would you spring on that RANE controller? If
I'm
they're
actually
around the
good
same,
with my
right around the same price.
I mean, S11 will probably be the next thing like that I buy.
I'd probably ask somebody who doesn't have an S9 already.
I know a lot of people with the S9 that are just dying for the ability to have individual
yeah.
categories on each side.
Mhm.
Like that.
I feel it.
That is such a design flaw from the beginning. That should have never been that way.
I don't know. I like that RANE 72 also, though. I don't know if I would pick that instead of the S11.
The 70, the non-screen version, also.
Yeah.
Let's look at that as a price comparison too, between the 70 and the 72.
Yeah, how much is that 72? I think it's
the
like too much money.
the
So
I'll just
MK2
wait
is
for
around the
this money
same.
right now.
Yeah, it's like 1,800.
Yep. So around $200 less. Yeah, $18.99 and $14.99.
That's not as much as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Are we looking at the MK2 or?
Oh no, I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was the RANE, right? The
Yeah.
72. Yeah. So the 72 MK2 is the latter one.
$18.99. Yep. Let me get
That's
it up
not
on the screen
bad.
here. We can take a.
So
we can-
$200 cheaper than the S11.
Yeah. Yes. $200 cheaper than the S11.
That
This
looks
is your,
nice.
your RANE
Yeah, I was gonna get that one.
MK2. And this one has the scratch bank and everything also, I believe. And it can do 4 channels as well. Simultaneous, even with the layer thing, right? Or is that not
Yeah.
When they upgraded the screen, that was a big thing. It's a lot of little tweaks on this one.
right?
It's kind of like the S9 to the S10. Like we said, it could have been an S9 MK2.
Right.
Same thing.
Gotcha.
That might be the mixer I buy. I don't know.
I tell you, man, that Mag 4 fader is almost too fast.
I'll just buy it so Billy can't use it.
If it's not fast enough, it comes with lube. You get. I saw the comments earlier. It says free lube. I was so fucking down. I was like, oh shit, comes with lube. I'm sold.
I walked away from lube and moved to sewing machine oil, and it has been the best move I've ever made. It's like one drop on a Q-tip, and then just one little slide across the rails, and that thing. I think I did it in 2019 at some point. I haven't had to do it again. It's amazing.
Brilliant, says Disco Kitty. I have no idea what that stuff is. I think Ross B might have some. Yeah, if you like just happen to have some sewing machine oil.
Yeah, I used the Deoxit for years, but now it's this. I'll find it online and put a link in there.
Cool.
This is a F5 though.
Yeah, that's what I use. I use the Deoxit F5.
So I think they come with the Mag 4 faders come with that. That's a green one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that's what they always recommend for RANE products. Have recommended for years for their shit. Slap some F5 in there and wiggle it around. Clipper oil. I don't know how that works with sewing machine oil. Yeah, Clipper oil too. Yeah, I don't know how that works with the parts. What's up, Knock? He used the tears of sucka DJs to lube his fader.
Nice.
That is a big buddy Knock comment right there. How you doing, sir? It's good to see you, brother. We're in here. This is Inside the Ride. The NAMM prediction week. Next week is going to be NAMM confirmations. So we'll know. This week we're kind of guessing. Next week we'll be able to look back and be like, see what we got right, what we got wrong. Do y'all see any software updates or any for Serato or Rekordbox happening here over the weekend? That happens sometimes during NAMM.
Well, I had an OBS update.
There's an OBS update today?
No. Between last Wednesday and today, I thought, wasn't there?
No, that was last week.
Was it last week?
Yep, 1.1.1.1.
Like I said, Groundhog Day.
Yep. It all blurs together. I want to see. What do you guys want to see? I know that I want to see, and I mentioned this a second ago, I want to see more integration with DJ live streaming. And more like built into the software stuff for DJ live streaming. There's no reason why there can't be a very, very simple OBS type of back end giggity in Serato, to where you can enter your Twitch information and your stream key, and that way when you go to press the record button in Serato, you can either be recording as a recording it to your hard drive, or you can use the record button as a start streaming and stream out to your service provider.
So maybe that's where that Bluetooth you're talking about would come in handy.
I wouldn't need Bluetooth for that. It'd be all the same. It'd be all in the box.
So Virtual DJ added that a couple years ago, maybe 2 versions ago. You would go into the sharing or broadcast, and there'd actually be Facebook, Twitch, and a couple different like supported 100% legitimate links. And you click on the link and you get a token that you put the token in, and
it's
you
an EOS token. It's just like what we use for our plugins.
Yeah. So you could stream right through Virtual DJ. I think they got rid of that, but the new thing in Serato allows you to send your audio direct out of Serato to iShowU or whatever you want to use to capture the audio. That goes right into OBS. So I mean, we're not that far from that.
I could see it a lot of if the DJ software integrates with the streaming platforms, there's a solution for music accountability there as well. Because if your DJ software and your Twitch site are all tied in, then you have the data for what song you played, how long you played it, and for how many people you played it to. Like, it's all there, and there's accountability for that. You know what I mean? That could be like part of a solution for us with this DMCA shit, right? Especially if you're using stuff like Beatport Link, where all of your music is coming from the cloud as well. Yeah. Then there's full accountability for everything, right?
Even if it wasn't on the software side, even if Serato made a deal with playlist, their playlist functionality, and when you went live, you just enabled your playlist, kind of like the train spots do, and it's the same thing. That way, there'd be no heavy lifting on your computer's end, but on the site, you'd have your playlist, and like you said, Billy, you know how long you played it, compare that to the viewers, and Bob's your uncle, and no more DCMA.
And you mentioned the having a Twitch bot that comes from Serato or Rekordbox or whatever you're using, like being able to like authenticate your DJ software to have its own chat bot is fucking gold, man. Like, you could do so much shit with that. And the obvious thing would be to have a much more accurate ID system for those that are in the chat that want to, that need an ID on a tune. But I would like to see a lot more streaming integration into DJ software, and I feel like that's being developed. Both by Pioneer and Serato right now.
It'd be weird if they weren't developing it.
Yeah, at least give us a keyboard and a mouse.
Dude, the possibilities for development have never been more wide open, in my opinion. I feel like the 2 hurdles that DJs have had to overcome here when it comes to music library management and media management is the fact that, especially on the mobile side or on the bar club side, the fact that you're dealing with a crowd that has had Spotify at their on their phones for the better part of 10 years now, at least, right? Any song under the fucking planet, they can ask their phone to play and it plays it. So arguably, right? And so you take that mindset and bring it into a nightclub where you have DJs who are still doing pay per download and still physically holding on to records or even MP3s. And so their libraries aren't any song under the sun like an Amazon catalog, right? And so you're dealing with this clientele that doesn't understand that because for the first time, DJs are kind of technically behind the consumer when it comes to how we consume music. And so if we're going to step into that next realm, we're going to need the Spotify for DJs like Beatport Link. We're going to need that shit. And it's going to cost us more than it costs consumers because we're playing it for an audience. And that's what they got to nail down. How much is it going to cost? Big up Visual Serenity. Thanks for the bits. Appreciate that. Visual Serenity is a huge supporter of this channel. You guys notice the new layout? The alerts come on on where the browser line would be on the top.
Yep.
It's kind of silly. Who spends like a ridiculous amount of time on dumb features for their stream?
Never.
Joshua Carl, keep your hand down.
I don't even know how to.
It's a waste of time in a good way. In a good way.
Although you're like, I've noticed I have like your viewers, if people aren't on your screen, they don't count, right? Like if they're doing something else while they're doing it, hell of people will listen to my stream and don't watch it. And they never count as viewers. And you can see the list of who's on there at a time, right? And because I don't do all the shit that you do, nobody ever watches my stream. They just listen to it.
I don't know what I'm doing other than talking a whole lot, but I appreciate everyone looking in.
Like you have all the characters running around and shit like that. Like there's a lot in your stream that's engaging the audience.
Word up. I take that as a compliment.
It is. It totally is. You're doing it right.
Reverend Funktology, thanks for the biddies. Keeping the hope alive here at the channel. Man, I apologize if I've been dragging a little bit. I'm feeling a bit under the weather last couple of days.
I think there's a flu going around.
I think so too.
I don't mean that as a joke. I think there's like literally like a low grade fever type thing happening to a lot of folks. That's not COVID.
Right. Yeah, I just have normal winter sickness happening today for sure. It doesn't feel like COVID symptoms. It just feels like I'm kind of burnt. We're about in a few minutes, about 10 minutes. We're going to be raiding into our continuing this raid train because it is my man Kenny's birthday. Kenny, what time are you going on later?
I'm going to be playing around 10 o'clock.
Okay, so we got a couple hours to go. Word up. And what are you planning on throwing down for your birthday?
I'm going to definitely play some D&B. I've been on beat on fucking Bandcamp for the last couple of days, getting some old classics and just some shit that I just was really always feeling.
Dope. And
fucking, people get out there, buy music from Bandcamp. They're fucking awesome tunes out there, and it supports the artist.
Straight up.
Yeah, just doing, some shit like that, some drum and bass. I can get weird if everybody wants to get weird. I know if Chris is there, I'm going to try to get weird because I know he likes to hear the weird shit. So
Chris Digit, what up, man? Oh, Hopkins too. Hopkins likes the weird shit.
Yep. Yeah.
You say Chris, and I immediately associate with Chris from the other member of the Demon Robot Tribe.
Yep, yeah. And he's a homie, bro. He they redid my bass for me, so yeah, it's pretty sick.
Knox says Chris loves getting weird. You ain't lying. Hey, Knox, how come you're not in the Zoom, man? You should be in the Zoom.
I sent it to you on Facebook.
Boom. It's always exclamation point Zoom in the chat whenever anybody wants to enter. If I don't recognize the name, we go too hot for Twitch. Make sure you're not Captain Whip Out, and we'll bring you right on in.
That's the best part about Twitch is just playing super weird shit all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff you don't normally get to hear, you know what I mean?
I 100% agree. What's this say? Hold on. You think of stems feature algorithm BJ. Oh, so the stems feature, that's going to be some future shit. Good call on that one. I don't know if like other DJ software is going to immediately pick up on it right away. But that technology, the AI STEM technology is legit. And I can see it being used super dope creatively. And Algorithm LOL. No, dude, Algorithm is not shitty software. In fact, a lot of the original team from Serato Scratch Live, I believe, is on the development team for Algorithm now. Yeah, I really hope Serato brings that stems feature as well. Record Box too. Y'all know if you want. I mean, I don't know the name of the plugin now off the top of my head, but there are plugins that you can install and then like do that in Logic now. That AI shit is all the heat. In fact, that might be something that comes out on NAMM too. That's a hot topic on NAMM. Is all the application of AI into audio production. I mean, even just right now, I'm using an AI noise suppression on my microphone. I got a fan running in the background that you guys probably can't even hear. And it's the application of AI into audio is kind of a newer thing. Video too, with the NVIDIA broadcaster using the GPUs to create some crazy shit for audio and video. I know that my man Joshua Carl has the fucking all the candy over there.
I'm running it. I love it. It cleans up only a decent camera. This isn't even a 922. It's a 920, and it just makes it pop.
That's super dope. I definitely would love to get my hands on one of them fancy graphics cards. That's for sure. But for those that don't know, yeah, AI is coming to audio production in quite a few ways here. It's pretty exciting, and you're going to start seeing more DAWs utilizing the GPUs for audio stuff here in the future as well, which is pretty dope.
Yeah.
And the NVIDIA broadcaster has its own noise suppression as well, and it's fucking legit. It's better than one I'm using. It's super dope. You can literally have a blow dryer next to you running, and you can't hear it at all. And the cutting out doesn't even really affect your fucking voice. Like, it doesn't affect the sound. And normally, when you have noise suppression, there's artifacts that are going to be missing from your voice as well, and you can hear the artifacting in your voice. But not the case with this new AI shit. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool to have graphics cards that can do VST processing. Yeah. That shit is legit, man. Distributed processing over to the graphics to the GPU is sick.
Yeah.
And these
PCs would run way faster.
Yep. Isotope has a ton of AI in its plugin design as well. You're right. That's a hot thing right now. So I'm excited to see what that's about too, for those of you who are into that side of things. Corinne's going to be up in just a few minutes. We're going to be rating into her. If we could have somebody keep an eye on Corinne's page to make sure that she's up. In fact, let me get it up my screen. Do it myself.
Josh, do you know if there's any truth to a bunch of the video cards selling out? Like, you can't even find them on sites like Newegg and stuff right now.
Yeah, no, they're good luck.
She's up.
Yeah,
I've gotten to the point where I've seen like a couple streamers like giving away like a 3080, and I'm entering those contests like my life depends on it, because I'm like, dude, I don't care how I get it, if I can get a 3070 or 3080.
Yeah.
They just did a video yesterday, and video did basically a ray tracing, push video, debuting some of the new games, and they did sort of address the fact that none of them are available. And at the end of the thing, it said like coming in February. So
yeah, E-Rock was telling me, he's like, hey, he goes, you need to update your video card to make your 4K camera work. And he's like, good luck. Who knows when that'll happen? And I was like, oh, thanks, dude.
So we're wrapping. I want to thank everyone for locking with us, and all the bits and the subs and the donos and the channel points and everything else. Literally keeps the lights on here on the channel. Super appreciate it. It's a real thing. Excuse me, I'm out of it today. The channel is going to be back on Friday, if I'm not sick in bed. And we're going to be doing Taco Rewind in full effect on Friday. I have a special set planned for the opening, and I hope y'all check it out. It's going to be super dope. I'm not going to spill the beans. Just go check it out. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on Fader and Friends with my homie DJ Darth Fader. We're going to be talking about the movie Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking rad.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Great.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yes. Shit, I'm so bad. Does anybody know what time Faders and Friends starts? Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific, I believe. Let me double check my post. I'd be promoting this shit.
Yeah, I think that's right.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Fader and Friends. That's going to be a good time. And we're going to chit chat, hang out with Darth Vader, and the subject, even though it's not necessarily going to be on topic, is talking about one of my favorite films, Big Trouble in Little China. So that's going to be super dope. Saturday is Inside the Ride. Let's take a look at Inside the Ride's lineup. I big up Gypsy Kid for helping out with keeping the calendar up to date. And I know that we've got IMF Dread, we've got Screw Tape, and we've got, let's see here, where's it at? Digit, and Kitsch. That's what I was trying to remember. Kitsch from Hawaii. She's super dope. So that's going to be this Saturday. And for those who don't know about Inside the Ride, check it out. Saturdays at 9:16 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the 916 Junglist channel. We stream Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 3 times a week. That's what you got to remember. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. If you like this show, we do it every single Wednesday. Want to send a shout out to everyone in the Zoom. Big up Joshua Carl. Big up Chris Hopkins. Big up Meta Pattern. Big up Grasshopper. Stitch Jones. Happy birthday, Kenny Hawkins.
Hey.
Big up, man. The big 4-0, dude.
Yeah,
you fucking cashing in.
Doing it.
Appreciate you, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate all of you. See you
We're
tonight.
we're raiding into Corinne. The countdown is in. Appreciate y'all locking in. We'll be back on Friday. And make sure you check tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/DJ Darth Vader, or just check on this channel. I'll be hosting as well. Slide through. Appreciate y'all. Solarized TV throwing in 2 months of tier 1 just now. That's what's up. Appreciate that. Feel better. I will feel better, man. I will. I promise.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Feel better, Billy.
Working on it.
Get some rest.
I know it. Big up, y'all. Appreciate you.
Night.
Peace.
Thanks again, Billy.
Peace.
Claire.
Cool.